For years, the conventional wisdom among the chattering classes has been that the future belongs to America and other established economic powers. The rise of the rest, that grand narrative of emerging markets overtaking the West that captured our imaginations in the 2000s, was pronounced dead on arrival. But I've learned over the decades that just when the self-anointed experts are unanimously dismissing something, that's usually when it's time to take a fresh look. As I've wandered the globe meeting with ministers, moguls, and philosophers on the rise of the developing world, a radically different picture has emerged. We're on the cusp of an economic renaissance across the emerging nations, a renewal of what the brilliant Fareed Zakaria called the rise of the rest. From the iPlaza offices of Mumbai to the bodegas of Buenos Aires, a new capitalist awakening is stirring. At its core, this megatrend represents a triumph of economic rationality over ideological zeal. While America has drugged itself on the fentanyl of deficit finance and cheap money, emerging nations like Turkey, Argentina, and even perpetual debt pariah Greece have rediscovered the virtues of frugality. With balanced budgets and current accounts, they've built up their economic resilience. Their factories may lack the polish of American and European plants, but their fundamentals are rock solid. The waning of China's star has revealed the awakening of a new cohort of emerging titans, a group with vastly diverse economies and cultures, bound by a shared commitment to reform and openness. In India, I sat transfixed as a graying financial scholar laid out his nation's path, using its continental-sized domestic market and youth dividend to build a services and technology powerhouse, while still lifting hundreds of millions from rural poverty. In Kuala Lumpur, a young engineer showed me plans for an audacious vision valley in the Kerala region, a metropolis designed around principles of green urbanization and sustainable growth that would be a launchpad for Malaysia's emergence as the world's ecotronics export hub. You can feel the spiritual energy behind this uprising. While American multinationals are obsessed with their stock buybacks, executives in Monterey have rediscovered a passion for the long-term corporate investments that build economic and social value. Sure, many of these countries still face profound challenges: corruption, inequality, underdeveloped human capital. But a new generation of economic leaders, motivated by meritocratic ideals, is riding the twin horses of globalization and government reform to create more stable, opportunity-rich societies. The most vital sign that something tectonic is shifting? The up-and-coming overachievers of the global elite are increasingly born not on the rarefied Ostlands of Greenwich or the swank arrondissements of Paris, but in the hustle of Jakarta, Rio, and Nairobi. The center of ambition is moving. We in the West have been blinded by our arrogant obsession with megacap tech giants and slick digital disruptors, baubles that dazzle while an entire region lays the foundations for sustainable, ethics-driven growth. The emerging forces of capitalist renaissance remind me of those Midwestern immigrants who helped drive America's rise. Not the college-educated professionals, but the salt-of-the-earth overseas contractors, small businessmen, and skilled tradesmen hungering to build something meaningful from the ground up. Their industrious striving puts our self-indulgent elite to shame. In a century when people bemoan a loss of national vision and community building, the emerging world is restoring that faith in progress through grit. The rise of the rest may have been prematurely celebrated before, but this time its return is for real, an object lesson in economic wisdom rising from the most unexpected places. So scoff if you must at the chaiwala bureaucrats and upstart industrialists of the developing nations. But in the decades to come, they'll be the ones rejuvenating the moral and economic promise of democratic capitalism. The enlightened vanguards of opportunity are emerging not from the insulated zip codes of America's coasts, but from the blazing new crossroads pulsing with a billion hopes.